So, you want to make cool glitch edits like these. Well, I'll be the first to tell you that it's a lot easier than you think, and that these projects that you just saw were the first things I ever learned how to do in Adobe After Effects from scratch. So a couple of you guys have requested that I make a tutorial on how to make these sort of glitch edits. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into After Effects, and I'll kind of show you guys the methodology and the process that I went through to be able to make this. Okay, so I'm gonna try to make this quick because I know my computer does not handle this at all really well. Okay, so sorry for like the late delay on the tutorial, you guys. I recorded it once and I didn't really like how it turned out, so I'm actually deciding to go back and re-record this. So let's just jump straight into it. Basically, the first thing is obviously you're going to want to bring in your footage, and for me, when I brought in my footage, I actually pre-composed it and then added a solid into this so that the track would actually work better. And all I really did was just go around the selection that I had. So basically all I had to do from the original comp was, as soon as I brought in my footage, I had essentially pre-composed it and then added a gray solid. And all I really did for this was I took the gray solid and then every few frames I would readjust it, so that way when I did the camera track, it came out with just the mask for the track. And then once I was done, all I had to do was remove the gray solid, go back to my original comp, and then I already had the track solid that was perfectly stuck on there. So then once I actually had tracked it, all I really did was then just pre-compose everything into a new layer. And you can actually see this is where the original solid was. And once it actually worked, I had taken that solid and then added a grid effect to it, just so I could see it in real time and where it was, and make sure that the track had worked really well. And then once I was done with the track and made sure that everything worked out well, I basically took everything, all the visual elements I wanted, and since everything was already in the composition, all I had to do was just worry about the placement of it in real time. So instead of having to worry about it all in 3D space and have like multiple different layers here in the main comp, all I had to worry about was all the different layers here in basically the flat lay comp, and then just worry about the pacing and the timing of everything. So once I was pretty satisfied with that, and all the visual elements that you're seeing, all of these were already pre-made for me, so I didn't actually have to make a whole lot of it. The only one that I actually did pre-made myself was the text, where all I did was just have the actual text at the very bottom, and I just put an opacity keyframe on it so that every other frame it would flash in and out. And then above and beyond that, I added lots of little random squares just so it would look like it was glitching out, and just kind of put them randomly. And pretty much all I did was just put visual elements in random spots that I thought looked good. So all I had to do was just keep referencing back and forth between here and from this comp and this comp to make sure that everything looked like it was pretty well good. So now, after I was pretty happy with the way that these visual elements were made, I took this entire comp and then pre-composed it again. That way, that's what this glow effect is called. And I added a couple more elements just because I was a little unsatisfied with the way they were turning out, so I wanted to add a little bit more spice to it. And essentially all the glow effect, all the glow comp is that it's basically everything that's in here and with the glow effect on. So when you look at it, all it really does is just make it look a little more realistic, and it makes it pop just a little bit more. And it's just so that instead of having to go through in each element and add a glow effect, all I had to do was just add it to the one composition, and it would affect everything under that. And if you really wanted, you could actually even take this even further and add special effects or special expressions to the actual glow itself with a wiggle expression, and you could even spice it up so that it looks even more realistic. You could add different textures and make it look even better than it currently is. I didn't do that just because I wanted to get through this edit as quickly as possible, just so I could get it out there. But there's tons more that you could do with this effect to be able to make it look way better. So after this was all said and done, all I ended up doing was rendering it out and then bringing it to Premiere, adding basic music, and then just rendering it out in 4x5. So let's go see what that looks like right now. Okay, so with being in Premiere, basically all I really had to do is just bring in the actual original exported video. And as you can tell, the audio and the sound effects that you hear in it aren't actually even what came out to be. Luckily for this, I didn't actually have to work too hard on it. It was pretty straightforward and simplistic as to what I had to do for this edit. I didn't actually have to add any sort of sound effects as I did for other ones that I had made. For the mask, the sound that I used was good enough to be able to make it pass because it had enough sound effects in it to where it just worked. added 4x5 crop on it, and then added a little bit of lumetri color to make it pop a little bit more and make it look more stylistic, and then I just rendered out the final video. So this is basically it. So that's basically it. I know this tutorial was really rushed. I was just trying to get this all in within a couple minutes, and the heaviest part of this entire tutorial is just the motion graphic elements that go into this. That is where you could actually spend a lot of time learning about. I could spend an entire 10-minute video explaining how to do this and kind of the processes and thoughts that I've had towards this entire field. So if you guys are looking for something like that, let me know down in the comments below and leave a like for the video. That's going to do it for today. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.